Dr. Sairam, sir.
Saurabh, you need to change, no? Dr. Sairam, sir, no? You change this one.
No, Sitij, you are going to present first, then
Okay.
Dr.
All right.
Sairam. So we'll keep you as a presenter. Good morning, one and all, and I welcome to this 123rd webinar. I'm Amit, and Marketing and Communication Manager at Manage CIA. Since from the last 2.5 years, Manage CIA is running this unique Saturday webinar series for the budding entrepreneurs and for the agripreneurs. Manage CIA is one of the leading agribusiness incubator in the India, which is hosted by the National Institute of Agriculture Extension, Manage, Hyderabad. Till the date, our incubator has mentored 503 entrepreneurs and incubated more than 330 startups from the various focus areas of the agri and allied sectors. As the today's webinar topic is emerging trends in and challenges in fresh farm produce and opportunities for the agri startups. Yes, it's not a secret that the fresh farm produce is a demand and data-based agrarian ecosystem that recognize a retailer demand trends and buys the precious amount from the farmers. Although it's a challenging sector to deal the highly perishable farm fresh produce, but due to large customer base and opportunities in this sector, it attracts to many agripreneurs to enter into this domain and start their own new startup. And to discuss this a very interesting topic, we have joined two eminent speakers. I welcome the both speakers, and we will start this session with our first speaker, Mr. Kshitish Thakur. Welcome, sir. Mr. Kshitish Thakur is a co-founder of the AgroGrade. He has 10 years of experience helping to the farmers get a fair prices and making agriculture grade transparent through unbiased AI-based quality assessing and sorting agriculture produce. AgriGrade have patented design smart machine which grades, sorts and pack the fruits and vegetables using artificial intelligence technology. All the fruits and vegetables are assorted by the size, quality, shape, and the different demographic features using the different cameras, sensors, and deliver the precise results in unimagined speed. So such a innovator and the young entrepreneur has joined us to discuss this topic. I welcome and request you to start with your session.
Thank you. First of all, good morning to everyone. Thanks a lot for having me uh, in this session. Just to start off, right, what we are working on is on the fresh produce post-harvest value chain. Now, globally, around 40% of fruits and vegetables grown are wasted every year, owing to multiple reasons. What we see is we have been trying to increase the yield of farmers, but somewhere to increase the revenue of farmers, we also have to make sure there is transparent pricing mechanisms. There is transparency in the entire post-harvest value chain because that's where revenue realization actually happens. So we have been focused on solving this trust issue in the supply chain. If you look at the current supply chain, there are multiple challenges that are faced in this industry. And the primary being trust deficit. Nobody trusts the other person because the quality in this segment is very subjective in nature. Right? Now, this recently happened, right? This was last year when a farmer got 50 paise per kilo for the produce. 50 paise for growing onions, the cost of production itself is 8 rupees a kilo. Even when the season is not there, even if there is some problem in the harvest, it should not have been 50 paise per kilo. But if the produce had been segregated properly, the farmer could have realized at least 2 to 3 rupees per kilo if the produce was segregated properly. Now, this kind of awareness is not there in the market. That's why we get called by a lot of entities to help promote these grading and sorting activities. This happens in a lot of clusters, but in some clusters, the realization is still not there, because ultimately the realization of value depends on customer demand, and regarding customer demand, they have quality specifications to follow. So currently, this is how the process happens. It's very subjective in nature. It's as good as telling someone a height of a person by another immeasurable object. Now we have metric systems to measure everything. So we know what 1 meter is, 1.5 meters, but nothing, no standard tools or infrastructure is available in fresh produce. That is where the first point comes, that we need to quantify quality so that we can remove subjectivity. The way it happens currently is the buyer will always say, this is not a good quality, so I'll pay a less price for this, even the quality is good. Now, who's correct, the buyer or the seller? So to get everyone on the same page, we use technology like computer vision and deep learning, uh, generally termed as AI, where we check for size, color, shape, defects, and then we have our own machines which segregate the produce depending on the shelf life, depending on the marketability. If a particular quality of produce can fetch a premium price in a premium market, can travel long distances, then that should be ideally marketed towards those customers and not towards local customers, because that is where we can get a tremendous price advantage. So this is how our machines look like. We primarily work on vegetables. We started with fruits as well. Our accuracy is about 95% in terms of size detection. In terms of quality, we do more than 91%. Now, as you look at, take a look at the bottom right part, we check for fungus, we check for damages, we check for rot, we check for misshape, anything that can deteriorate. One is the storage efficiency of the produce, and the marketability of the produce is something that we come into the picture. In onions specifically, in storages, because the onions that are harvested are stored in silos. Now there, around 40 to 50% is again wasted because of rot. Now this can be easily handled by grading and sorting before storing. But right now there are no tools apart from manual processes, which is where it becomes very time consuming, labor intensive. This is our solution. You can see on the right side how the produce that is rotten and can damage other produce, other healthy produce, is removed using AI. These are the machines. If you want to have a look at our other products, we put all the videos on our YouTube channel. I'll just play a video. Hello, we are looking at, this is an artificial intelligence grading, sorting, and packing machine. Meaning we have cameras and inbuilt into the machine, which detects quality, size, and multiple parameters based on which the produce is graded and sorted into multiple categories. To give you an example, this is the rejected produce from the machine. Skin out, sprouts, rotten, double, black smut are all the parameters that are rejected. Then we have medium sized onions. This setting is entirely customizable, and the customization can be done within 60 seconds. Then we have bit sizes. This is 55 plus. The biggest differentiator in this machine is there's no spin off and there's no friction involved, because of which we are able to maintain the quality of the produce without damaging it. So the way we act as a phygital infrastructure between producers and the buyers, where we are enabling trust in the value chain through technology. What our belief has also been that we as a country need technology developed for this country and the crops grown here to be able to solve problems on ground. That is where we have been de-enterprising technologies that were meant for big enterprises, taking it to farmers, taking it to FPOs, traders, Indian stakeholders, and then helping them improve efficiency and transparency in the system. So whenever our technology is enabled, what we enable is a direct linkage where everything is fair and transparent. We have been incubated at SIBA, IGKV, and we've raised 2 rounds of funding from Aligned Ventures, Social Alpha, CIA, and Billgrow. We have also been fortunate enough to be one of the awardees at Manage Community Awards this year. Also, one more thing before I wrap up, what we believe is we Indians have a very good understanding of the problems on field because we go understand, empathize the problem statements, understand, we go to the very depth of the factors causing the problems and then solve it in a realistic way, which is financially feasible, and we do multiple iterations. So I believe there's a huge opportunity to be unlocked here to help Indian farmers, Indian stakeholders. We proudly believe in Make in India and for the world. So that has been our vision since day one. We want to be the technology leaders here and then set a very prime example of how technology can solve the unsolved problems in agriculture. Thank you.
Yes, Kshitij, I have one request for you. Can you please share any real life example that you interacted with the farmers or FPOs and how that helped you to work on your startup and when you came up with this farm machinery, right? So I want to know that the real story behind it, how it worked. Yeah,
Sure.
your
So when
journey.
we Definitely. So when we started out in 2018, before developing any technology, we wanted to understand how this particular problem affects everyone in the supply chain, right from farmers to retailers. So this involves 7 to 8 levels of stakeholders in the supply chain: farmers, aggregators, FPOs, traders, exporters, retailers, and then obviously the consumers as well. Now, we took around 8 months speaking to multiple people in each category. We have gone to an extent where all these grading sorting activities that you have done, right? We as a team used to sit in those warehouses and do all these processes ourselves. We used to stay at remote locations where these activities happen for months, just to understand, just to in depth what the cost economics are, what are the problems of the current processes. We have seen FPOs struggle with payment. A lot of FPOs, I personally know 4 FPOs who have lost more than 20 lakhs in just payment issues because the other party, which is the buyer, has declined to pay because of quality issues, even though there may not have been a quality issue. Because these prices fluctuate in this segment, these are the indirect uh, consequences where if the quality has not been assured or there is no tool to notify what the quality is, it indirectly affects payment issues, which affects the survival of an FPO because an FPO has to pay to their farmers immediately. But they provide the produce on credit for 15 days, 20 days, and many a times this payment doesn't come, which questions the survival, puts the FPO at a very vulnerable state. So this most of the products that we have developed is in collaboration with these FPOs and farmers, where we try to understand their point of view, and also in collaboration with buyers, with institutional buyers, where we understand if they don't get a proper quality, what are the consequences for them. As I mentioned, 40% is rot, it is damage due to rot and damages. That is where we realize this needs to be solved at source. That is our key focus is how can we take technologies as close to farm gate as possible. We feel fortunate enough to have been supported by so many FPOs and farmers during our development stage itself that we could understand this problem statement in depth and design a solution that has not that has helped them solve their issues, and something that this industry has been in need of for such a long time. We have worked in segments where even international players haven't been able to succeed, and this is where we say this is a very community driven effort. Our understanding, our own team, 70% of our team comes from a farming background. So we have that determination to solve problems in a way where only we understand what are the details, we understand what are the features needed, and do it in a cost effective manner. We are our current solutions are globally the most affordable ones. That is where we create a huge differentiator in terms of the technology available, in terms of the cost economics.
Okay, okay. And I saw that video. In that video, you are showing the sorting and grading machine. So I want to know the product development cycle of that. So challenges that you as a startup and as a startup team that you faced. Yeah.
So when we started out, we built a very small prototype. Actually, when I speak about it, it was like a 1 meter long belt. We're all young engineers and an average age of 24, 25 when we started out. And it was just to understand the functionality, if this works. But the solutions that will be deployed are going to be in very environmentally fluctuating conditions, open air conditions. So we built 6 prototypes before taking something to the market. And as I said, this is a very community driven effort. We've been very fortunate to have mentors. We have been very fortunate to have potential customers and FPOs help us out by providing their facilities to us. So our team used to go and sit at their warehouses to understand the processes. We have done multiple pilots with FPOs. Godavarna FPO, which is one of the members of Maha FPC, has been very supportive for us. They have helped us with space, they have helped us with their expertise of the industry, they have helped us during the entire design process. There's another company, Go for Fresh. They have helped us with a lot of inputs that from their side. So regarding the product development process is where we understood what is the requirement of this process, why this process particularly happens. Is there any solution available right now? If there is, what are the limitations? If not, what is expected? What we understood, at least for the onion segment when we started out with onion. Now we are present in around 8 fruits and vegetables. That when we started out with onion, we understood there is no other solution that is feasible, that has been working in this segment. So it needs a solution which is Indianized in a way, which works for Indian crops. There are solutions that works for other varieties of onions, but not the ones that are grown in India, because Indian onions have a particularly loose skin, so it has to be handled with care. So that is where our journey started, from trying out multiple mechanisms, trying out multiple approaches. And then during the sixth iteration is where we got a very good performance compared to the previous ones. So it is an ongoing cycle of innovation and test run, iterate cycles, which we have been following. As I said, 70% of our team comes from a farming background. So their understanding of technology and the product requirements is quite amazing. So all the photos and videos that you saw is actually our technology team doing their amazing work, that understanding product to depth, as much depth as possible. So it
Yes,
took
yes,
us
but
around 3 years, but now we are going good. We recently signed 23 LOIs from FPOs itself within Maharashtra for grading and sorting vegetables. We have been doing a lot of deployments. Now we are also coming up with more affordable solutions for farmers to be deployed at farm gate.
okay, okay, Kshitij, it's very inspiring to know that a lot of work has gone in the background in order to come up with this particular machine. So definitely, I believe our participants are also inspired like me, and they'll definitely understand the product life cycle of a startup is not that easy, and it is challenging, and also it is quite exciting also. The lot of things, right? Yeah, a lot of memories you carry, and you can easily able to relate how you started and what are the challenges you face and how you're taking it forward. So that's a lot of proudness that I can see in you. So thank you, Kshitij. Now I request Mr. Amit to introduce the next speaker of the day. After the session by the second speaker, we can take up combined Q&A session.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you,
Kshitij.
Praveen.
Thank you, sir.
Now we will welcome to our second speaker, Dr. Sairam Reddy Palichera. He is the co-founder and chief scientific officer in Urban Kisan Farm India. He is the researcher and entrepreneur with over 18 years of experience aimed towards developing environmentally safe and sustainable agriculture technologies. He's obtained his PhD in plant biotechnology and he did his postdoc from the ISC and University of Delaware, USA. Dr. Sairam has received several awards and recognitions of national and international repute. He was listed in the top 10 leaders in the agriculture industry for the year 2022 by CEO Insights magazine. His company Urban Kisan is a vertical farming pioneer in India. His company listed in the top 5 most influential projects in India for the year 2022 by PMI. Urban Kisan was also awarded by Startup of the Year 2021 by the Economics Times. His company is recognized as a Company of the Year 2021 by the Inner Review and Global Sustainability Awards and the Innovative Sustainable Enterprise of 2020 year by the Thai Sustainability Summit 2021. Urban Kisan also received investments from the leading investors like Y Combinator, USA, BSF, and Germany. So such an eminent speaker and very experienced person from the researcher to the entrepreneur is joined us today to discuss this topic. So I welcome sir and request you to start with your session.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dr. Sharon Raj, for having me here. It's a great pleasure every time I come here. Let me. Yeah, so you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just start with a little briefing. So when we are talking about fresh farm produce, I mean, generally we limit ourselves to the fruits and vegetables, but there is a spectrum of farm produce, but everything including nuts and grains, people want it in fresh. So it could be like, the difference in days in the perishability and all, but that's what is expected. Fresh is not in the next day or the same day, but it is like, as it is harvested in the same good condition. So the primary challenges, if you see that, in general in this particular industry are, number one is perishability. It is because of lack of storage and cold storage supply chain and food processing, the infrastructure. The financing is another important area where the farmers, producers, and also the processors and other industry is actually suffering. There is no sufficient financing at a low cost, or the interest for this upgraded farm infrastructure. And contaminations with microbial and heavy metals is becoming a big problem when it comes to especially the export markets. And also since we have been still struggling whether to go for chemical pest management or organic pest management, as none of these two are having a comprehensive useful solutions which can eliminate pests without having these pesticidal traces. And the low profitability is primarily coming, with the marketing, and then post-harvest supply chain management and product development and other competencies. So, let me introduce myself and my company. So where we are coming in this, the spectrum of challenges. So the Urban Kisan is actually started in the year 2018. We aim to develop the technology to adopt soilless farming and other, soilless farming primarily for the tropical countries. To produce fresh vegetables in soil-free farms, that is basically to cater a safe and healthy food meal to these urban dwellers. So we call our company Urban Kisan because our focus has been like, the urban dwellers. Is we Inspiration for this company has actually come from this one single publication which came in the year 2016, where the research was conducted by the Agricultural University in Hyderabad, Professor Jaishankar Agricultural University. So where they had actually gone around the Hyderabad city and collected various types of vegetables from various types of the supply stores like farmers market, street vendors, hypermarkets, supermarkets, organic stores. And for a change, instead of doing these pesticide residues, they have conducted heavy metal analysis. And you see here the very surprising data and scary data, in fact, where some of the toxic heavy metals like cobalt 73 times more than the permissible levels, and something like the lead is about 20 times more than the permissible levels. This is the toxicity levels, the of these heavy metals present in these vegetables, irrespective of actually, the from where the sample is collected. Even organic, because organic classification is not actually talking about heavy metals, it only speaks about how you grow, the fertilizer imports and then pesticide imports and things like that. So this is what made us to think as it is something, the big problem and there is no solution yet. And we found probably hydroponics as a solution. And it's the growing urbanization, is actually is going to lead this problem to a much bigger, because this problem was not limited to Hyderabad. In fact, when I further taken up the study, so I noticed that this is the problem in all the major cities of India and across the world. So it is primarily because the urban sewerages and industrial effluents which are going around the the water bodies of semi-urban areas. That is where all most of this fresh produce is being grown, and that is to be supplied immediately. That is to avoid the logistics delay and spoiling of the most perishable products. So we wanted to target this most perishable fresh produce, and since the urbanization, in fact, from about the 4 billion to 7 billion people. That's what is expected growth of urbanization. So more than like a 70% of the people are going to live in the cities by 2050. This is the statistics say about. It's a great opportunity and it's a social need to really solve this problem. So, and already people have been doing something, but still suffering with these challenges. Then we came out with this hydroponic solution, and we found a lot of challenges with hydroponics, though it is available as a concept, but it is primarily technology sophisticated only for the temperate regions, but all our tropical crops and tropical climatic infrastructure and the technology is never studied and never researched actually. So that is where we see as a great opportunity, and we built our business model like we do R&D. We see ourselves as the primarily a technology development company through R&D, because there's a massive opportunity in this area. We are still somewhere in the very initial stages of adopting this technology into the mainstream agriculture. And then we build farms, greenhouses, and indoor farms in and around the urban areas, the cities actually, urban and semi-urban areas, to grow the healthy and toxic-free vegetables. And we actually have developed very healthy recipes, using the ingredients which are grown in this technology, and also some of the ingredients which are directly procured from farmers where they are doing the safe agronomy, and then market this produce like the bowls, the meal replacements, and healthy salads, and the millet foods, and things like that through e-commerce platforms like Swiggy, Zomato, and also like we have now the kiosks in malls and airports and things like that. That's our primary business model. We started our business, uh, you know the with the home kits, because our burning problem, what we were seeing is like, the producing the safe and healthy, the vegetables, especially the most perishable vegetables like leafy greens and berries. So we thought like, promote there's something called a micro farming approach where every home can produce at least some portion of their healthy diet requirement in their home itself. And then we migrated to building farms as there was a huge demand pounding on us. So we started building vertical farms in the city, in the rooftops, and also moved on to the semi-urban areas, and few acres, of greenhouses converted into this hydroponic cultivation, not limiting to the greens, but also the other vegetables like cucumbers, capsicums, broccoli, cabbage, chilies, tomatoes, many other things. And we came out with our own LED technology, the very low cost and cost effective, power efficient LED technology, and then started building indoor farms, which helped us to make this production much more safer. And then this is the final product we are now talking about, supplying to the consumer directly. So we now have built a strong consumer brand, Urban Kisan, Farm Bowl, and Millet Bowl. These are the brands on which we are now present in the market. So we could successfully raise about two rounds of investments, about those $6 million. And fortunate enough, we are from the very initial stage. We got a very good media coverage, like the Discovery Channel, Forbes, TechCrunch, we were Times of India, and across all the spectrum of it. And we had a very good brand ambassador, Samantha. So we were initially funded by this Y Combinator is one of the best initial acceleratory global fund. And then BASF also invested in us. We are thankful to NAM AIDEA for helping us for the initial incubation, and then helping us to build the company with the much more dynamic and more strong. So with all these things, we developed the nutrient formulations for this technology, especially fine-tuning to the Indian vegetables, and we developed a low-cost photosynthetic LED lights, which helped us to build these indoor farms. And we also developed IoTs, and we also have been working on these AI/ML-based software for QC and the also the crop management. So, see, the challenges where we have actually tried to address, like the perishability. We try to address this challenge of perishability by building these farms not very far from the end user. So that's why we call as a neighborhood farming company. So, and we also worked on some deploying some of the most modern packaging and other methods to increase the shelf life of this produce. And we could somehow, with this tech, convince the investors, and we are now going for a third round of investment. And the contamination free, the challenge we addressed by using this hydroponics technology, where there is no heavy metals, there are no contaminations, no microbial contaminations, nothing can be seen in our produce. Also, like in pesticide traces are avoided by using this precision farming, combined with this biological treatments. We have come out with a very nice practices of deploying biological solutions for this pest management. So by converting this, the produce into a value-added food, the bowls, so we could also make decent revenues and bottom lines from this business. So these are all the existing, like the technologies and businesses and infrastructures, whatever is available. We made the best use of them and made sure the entire business goes successful. So the opportunities are huge for any upcoming entrepreneurs in this space. So it is said like the business opportunity in India in this fresh produce segment is so many billions of dollars, and it is growing because there is a people are constantly conscious now. It is when after COVID there is an increase in the demand for this fresh and healthy food, and this demand is growing constantly across the world, in fact, and more so in India. So I also like the group of middle class is growing, and they are becoming more health conscious. This is also an opportunity. The e-commerce business is also the fixing the several issues, and they are becoming more stronger. It is a great opportunity for producer, processor, and anybody to reach out to the consumer at the quickest possible time and directly without having some middleman in it. And on top of it, government of India is also very firm and have been they actually rolled out many interesting packages and then schemes to promote the entrepreneurship in this space, and also to encourage even the farmers to equip ourselves much better. So that is an opportunity for an entrepreneur to supply such a kind of a digital and then hardware equipment to this farmer, to where this entire thing can be connected and knitted tightly, and things like blockchain can be introduced, and by having such kind of a knitted digital platforms. So, there are like, the fruits, vegetables, herbs, dairy products, meat, poultry, seafood. There is a spectrum of the perishable products where the demand is extremely high, and opportunity is also very high, because still there are so many challenges to be addressed to preserve the produce in a proper way without getting spoiled, increase the shelf life, and retain the quality or increase the quality, and convert these things into value-added products. And now, like, the plant-based proteins is becoming another major demand. So the supplementary, the production of these such kind of vegetables is also going to grow up. So uh, entrepreneur opportunities are also, I mean, emerging, and are also deep opportunity, like, the e-commerce, online delivery. This is like, the now very good players are there, but still there's a space for players because nobody is handling this fresh in a efficient way. So this is still a great opportunity, not necessarily to go into the e-commerce deliveries, but providing solutions for these e-commerce and online delivery partners. So, direct to consumer marketing is also a great opportunity because of these e-commerce and online delivery systems. And cold chain and logistics, though the infrastructure is built so good, but still it is not sufficient enough, and it is not, the technology is not spread across the kind of, fresh produce. It's only still limited to very few of these SKUs. So many of them are outside this technology. Vertical farming is also a growing opportunity, and technology still needs to be perfected. That is also an opportunity. And this can be taken into some very high value and highly perishable products, and like how we are doing, and many others can also get in and do something good. Food safety and traceability, and like, the licensing, and also like many other technologies like laser technologies and IR technologies to identify the food quality, and also the blockchain technology for the traceability. All these are great opportunities which are coming up. And the farm to table restaurant, this is another very interesting concept. Like, in outside India, we are also doing the same thing. In India, Urban Kisan is doing exactly the farm to table restaurant the space. There are like players like, the Sweet Greens in US have been the very big company, and it is growing across the world, actually spreading. And this is so well received by people, and that demand is also growing in India. So anybody can take up that space and perfect the strings, and that's a great opportunity. So there are some very inspiring startups these days. I mean, there are last, I think, 5, 6 years, all these companies have come up and grown like giants, like Big Basket. Each one of them are solving one major problem. And Jiva Bhumi, and you have Dehat, and you Agnext. Each one of them are taking one space, trying to solve a bigger challenge. But still, so many micromanagement issues, technology challenges are left out, and there are opportunities for the upcoming the entrepreneurs. So, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thanks for this insightful presentation. Urban Kisan has done really a tremendous job at this sector. So now we will move to the next section of today's webinar. So we will take questions from our participants, and also I have noted a few questions for the speakers. So we will start with the questions now. So today I saw in news that Zepto has started quick commerce apps for farmers. They have launched a quick commerce app. So I just want to know, like, what is your take on this? Are these kind of models will be successful?
Yes, they are very useful models, and I'm sure Gypto has been working on these things for quite some time on back end. And I'm very sure this is going to be successful and great opportunity to farmers actually. So that's what also I was mentioning here. The entrepreneurship, you don't need to always see something really techy, and you can use the tech which is available and the rolled out by companies like Zepto, and take that as an opportunity and grow as an entrepreneur.
Okay, okay. Kshitij, what is your take on this?
I have slightly a different take on this. We've seen a lot of corporates, a lot of big players come into the segment on the promise or the vision of farm procurement. But because there are a lot of challenges in operating this, I believe rural entrepreneurs are most likely to succeed in this space than big corporates. By anyone who understands the geography, anyone who already has a trust with the farmers, because farmers are growing their produce, they want to hand it over to someone they can trust. This is somewhere I think there is a missing gap. All there have been major players in agriculture ecosystem. I'm only speaking from my observation in Maharashtra. It may be different for different crops, obviously, but my specific focus now, right now, observations have been around Ahmednagar, Pune, Nashik, this particular belt. Because farm procurement has been really challenging in terms of quality assurance, in terms of operations, logistics. That is where these agri startups or corporate players have then moved on to vendors. Now, these vendors are traders, these vendors are FPOs. So I believe someone who's already on ground, who's consistently supplying this, who has seen this geography and the supply chain throughout their lives, are more likely to succeed here. Obviously, now other companies are setting standards in terms of technology that should enable this. Right? So I think it's a two-way game. Corporates would keep bringing adopting technologies here, and I think rural entrepreneurs and micro entrepreneurs should also step up and adopt this technology to create a win-win scenario. Definitely farm to fork. As Sir said, Urban Kisan has been able to do that, right? Farm to fork. I think that should become a mainstream application itself. It shouldn't be limited to just 0.001%. It should actually come into general trade, not just modern trade.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kshitij. So now the important question that everybody has is recently we had union budget. So we want to know what are some of the implications of this budget over the farming sector, especially for fresh farm produce. So as a startup, so what are benefits that you are going to reap from this budget?
Yeah, I mean, very unfortunate and sorry, but I don't see any difference from previous budget to this budget, especially in this particular area. So I don't have much to comment on it. But yes, there is a very big need to to spare more budget on this area to really improve. The farm bills, which were on hold and with some kind of modifications, are though somewhere convincing to the farmers. If something like that, if that comes in, and that would encourage this kind of association directly with this corporate and the farmers, enhance and understand each other, and then grow the for each other's benefit. But otherwise, I unfortunately I have not seen any major difference from previous budget to this budget, especially to this sector.
Okay, Kshitij, what about you?
Won't be able to comment on the entire sector, but what I found really interesting is the agriculture accelerator fund that has been launched for the startups. I think that is an amazing validation that new technologies and new opportunities are there in the agri space, and everyone should take up on themselves to how can we solve these problems. These are all nuanced problems. As we focus more on onion and potato, we understand these nuances won't be applicable somewhere else, right? Someone who's growing fresh leafy vegetables, or someone who's growing fruits, they would have their own problems in their own geographies. I think so. There is a tremendous potential. There is tremendous opportunities. There's tremendous support. Manage themselves, right? Has amazing uh, team to support these young entrepreneurs, and I think that should be leveraged. So this fund, accelerator fund, is just another validation and opportunity to grab for everyone.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kshitij. As rightly you said, this accelerator fund definitely is going to make startups to think beyond incubation now. So, manage being apex body under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Our team is involved in the planning of this acceleration program. So, hope that we may play a prominent role once the program is officially launched, and we will be able to help startups in this regard. So, another question which I would like to take is agriculture 4.0. So it's a big thing. Like many startups are venturing into agriculture, especially technology based, right? So since you are having machinery in place, right? So you may be able to understand and right, throw light upon this agriculture 4.0, and many technological institutions, engineering students, engineering graduates, they are focusing on solving problems related to agriculture through technology now. So how do you see yourself as an entrepreneur? What is the big game ahead now? So as a startup, what others can aspire in this particular segment, agriculture 4.0?
So I particularly come from an industry 4.0 background. My previous startup was in industrial automation. So I can completely draw parallels. The reason why we got into agriculture is we thought India has been using technology which is at a very different level than what we've seen in developed economies or developed supply chains. We've always been lagging in terms of technology adoption. I've been speaking with a lot of experts, a lot of people in the industry, and everyone relates to this, or everyone agrees to the point that we have to step up our game in terms of infrastructure, where we are looking at autonomous tractors, autonomous farm equipment. We are still at the first level of adoption in some cases. So, one of the things, I was recently speaking to one of the founders of one of the largest incubators, agri incubators in India. What we are discussing is now we are getting hardware, right? The same analogy from industrial automation. Now we are getting hardware, mechanization, everything in place. The second would be making them smart, getting ground level data through sensors. Once you have that, you can build an analytical layer which can then enable further actionable insights. So still at stage one, we'll have another level two, and then we can have like some the revolution that we had in industry 4.0. A similar revolution can be brought into agriculture as an agriculture 4.0. We are already seeing weather stations. We're already seeing sensors, smart farm equipment being deployed on farms. And I think there are very good success stories. We have companies like Fasal, Yuktix, then we have Philo. there are multiple companies working in this space already. I believe there are other companies who are also working on other sensors. So definitely that gives helps us understand there is very good demand and adoption in the market, and this will be applicable throughout the space from like seed to harvest, completely everywhere. You will see a lot of uh, automation, a lot of technological play, in my opinion.
Okay, Sairam sir, your take on this.
Yeah, see, agriculture 4.0 also includes precision farming, and digitalization of the farming approaches. This is all to do with data. So my major concern here is like our agriculture research. We were so light on this data collection, and we never paid so much attention onto the micro details of this data. So we were always looking at a macro level of this data. um, this this is a problem for us now when we have to suddenly pick up to the 4.0. We are lagging behind. Now we are working on it. We are trying to generate these data points required to make some sense and to build even machinery, smart farms, or automations, or any of those things. We are way behind compared to the other parts of the world. But there is also an opportunity because the our climatic conditions, our farming patterns, and our crops are all different from these Western worlds, and what they have been doing. So it is also like the what data they generated, they may not be able to directly impose on us. So there's some space, some gap is there, and this agri accelerator funds and these startup ecosystems which have been in like there in this space, and government of India is very good somehow, like though all this started very late, but our Indian entrepreneurs are very quick in grabbing this, and then like Fuzzle, and there are many other small companies collecting extremely useful data at a micro level. And I'm sure in next 3 4 years we'll have enormous data available to quickly equip ourselves, upgrade ourselves to this 4.0, Agri 4.0. So, but still, we need to see is an opportunity, and also like the some readiness which we need to make sure that it happens at a very earliest possible time before this the sensors and other hardware equipment is readily available with the people on the other side. We are now importing those sensors and all, trying to do these studies here, and that is that's a concern. So when we start manufacturing such sensors, and this entire industry is going to speed up, that makes the affordability for the researchers, and also affordability to deploy these tools with farmers and collect the large amount of data. This data is going to be so critical to really upgrade ourselves to agriculture 4.0.
Okay. So now, thank you, sir. Now we will take a few questions directly from the participants. Few participants have raised their hands. We have Mr. Kumar Ravi Vibhuti who wants to ask question. I'll unmute him now. Mr. Kumar, you can ask a question directly to the speakers.
So, my name is Ravi Vibhuti.
Can you be a little louder, Mr. Kumar? Yes, I think there's some disturbance in the background, so we'll take the other participant. We have Mr. Vishwanath who wants to ask question. Mr. Vishwanath, can you hear us? Okay. Yes, Vishwanath, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear.
Please ask. Yes, please ask the question, sir.
Yes, sir. So basically, my question is, as a startup, who we are trying to market products that are healthy and targeted towards children. How do we kind of reach the customer and market the products? At a very basic level. How do I make the customers aware that we are a brand that can produce and satisfy the dietary needs?
Yeah, I think I can take that question. See, the
Yes, sir.
biggest problem, in that scenario, so we will be called as a consumer brand when we are going to this customer directly. So the extremely important thing in this consumer brand is the building the brand. So, we know the pains, the we being the consumer brands, Urban Kisan, how difficult and how costly affair it is to, to build such a kind of a brand. But these days, now with the e-commerce platforms like the Swiggy and Zomato, the having the biggest reach, probably though you can use those platforms. So you have the healthy segments in those platforms. In that healthy segments, you can spend some the marketing money with those guys, and put the banners, and use the social media like Insta and things like that, and reach out. So that's the only cheapest way you can build, the start building your brand, and while making sales. The only thing is, you need to make sure that your food cost is as low as possible, because the Swiggy, their charges and the Swiggy marketing charges all put together will go anywhere up from 35 to 40% of your cost. Okay. So, but this an opportunity available without you, spending money and crores of money on these billboards and other things. This is what you can do. You can also tie up with some social influencers, where they will not be charging so much. Some of them may even do it for free if it is a good product, and that is another way of reaching out. So social media, and then these e-commerce platforms under the segments of healthy foods, probably the opportunity you need to get in. But the long run is like you need to build your brand. Consumer products are always brand driven products.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So now we have Mr. Deepak. Deepak, you can ask a question directly to the speakers. Yes, Saurabh, can you unmute him?
Hello, sir. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, it is audible.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. I'm Maharshi Deepa. I'm working in KVK Guntur. Sir, actually, my question is regarding the hydroponics, growing green leafy vegetables, and it is related to rural farming. Sir, is there any simple techniques for growing green leafy vegetables in the rural households who do not have the farm land, even a small bit of plants at the household level, who can consume the green leafy vegetables in a week at least for 3 to 4 times? Is there any simple techniques, sir, meeting at the low cost, at the low cost, not at the higher cost, not so expensive? And can do they grow the green leafy vegetables at the low cost, sir? Is there any techniques?
Yes, Deepagaru, as their home requirement, if they want to grow anywhere, any part of the globe, they will be able to do it at a very low cost. If they want to go for commercial production, then it requires, those specialized setups and equipment, investments and all. But for their home needs, and if they want to grow anywhere, even in villages, they can do it at extremely low cost, some 4 or 5 thousands. If they spend, probably they can, there's a one-time cost, they can start producing green leafy vegetables for their home requirement.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So I have one question for Kshitij. One of the participant has asked whether your agro-grade machines are available on rent and what is the price of the product?
We do work on multiple models. Our When we started out, our vision was simple. We want to make technology accessible and affordable to Indian stakeholders. Uh, that is the vision where we have been designing. This reflects on our design approach as well. As I said, all our products are made considering FPOs, aggregators, farmers in mind. Our solution starts at 99,000. It depends upon which variant we are going for. Is it an optical grader? Is it a mechanical grader? And we also operate on three models. One is someone wants, if there's an enterprise or a company, they want to purchase the machine, they can. Second, we operate on lease-based models in certain geographies, very limited in that case. And third is also we have our own pack houses where we operate on a service-based model, or sort of a pay-per-use model. When any producer or an FPO takes the produce to our centers, we grade, sort, and pack it, and we charge a service fee for it. Again, this has also been restricted to certain geographies itself. So currently, our major focus has been Ahmednagar, Pune, Nashik. We recently have started expanding. Now we are covering parts of Gujarat, UP, MP, and other parts of Maharashtra as well. But happy to hear more about the requirements and see where we can contribute. We also work with a lot of partners where they also provide financial assistance in case that solution is not financially feasible for that particular group, or they are very early stage. So we also help in handholding them in terms of getting them customers. We help a lot of FPOs with market linkage, fair market linkage, I would say. I also saw one of the questions in the chat mentioning what do you do about grade B and grade C. So what we look at is grade A gets a good price, but we also help in providing market linkage for grade B and grade C. But those are different customers so that your returns are optimized. And we don't charge any commissions on that. So it's a very transparent, fair practice. So you operate more or less like a gateway to digital marketplaces through technology. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Kshitij. Now we are coming to the end of today's webinar. I thank both the speakers for sparing their valuable time to deliver the insightful sessions today. And I also thank the participants who joined us and asked the relevant questions to the speakers. Now, before we wind up, I want to inform the participants that the contact details of both the speakers has been shared in the chat box. And also we will be sharing their PPTs through you over email. All the registered participants are going to get the email. And the cohort 9 applications are open now. Somebody who have innovative agribusiness idea who is looking for financial assistance. So through Government of India's RKVY-RAFTAAR project, you can apply for this funding program at Manage. The applications are open. You can visit our official website and apply there. And also we have opened the applications for Manage Agri Eureka second edition, 2023 edition. So the application deadline is there till April 30th. Anybody who has an idea who wants to take it forward to the next level, converting idea into a business idea, model, so they can apply here. So it's a national level innovation challenge. So applications are open. You can check that in website too. And also we have shared the link to submit feedback for today's session. Please submit your valuable feedback so that we can improve the webinars in the next sessions also. And also we have shared the link to participate in a survey. So far we have completed 123 webinars, and people who have attended it regularly can participate in this survey and see like we can get some insightful analysis from this so that we can make suitable modifications further. And also, if you visit official website of Manage CIA, you will get to know details of our all upcoming programs. Click on recent updates tab in the website. You will get all the details. Once again, on behalf of Manage CIA, I thank the speakers and the participants and also my fellow team members who organized this webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.